Okay, good afternoon, members. Councillor John Roberts, we can start the meeting.
Jane, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee, where we are all attending remotely. I'm Councillor John Roberts. I'll be chairing the meeting, and I can confirm that the committee officer has conducted a sound check before the start of the meeting, so I assume everyone can hear me. Is that okay? Put your hands up, nod your heads, whatever. Good. Okay. In addition to the subcommittee members, we also have officers joining us to assist with our discussions, together with members of the public making representation, who will be introduced at the appropriate time. Can I remind you that the meeting is being recorded and will be available to view through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. At the conclusion, the public hearing will close. Members, committee officer and legal advisor will retire in order for members to deliberate. The legal advisor will prepare the decision following discussion by members. The decision and reasons will be issued in writing within 5 days of the hearing. For those viewing the recording, committee members are identified with an asterisk next to their name. If you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function on your laptop or whatever you have. You can also use the chat facility, but please note that I may not be able to monitor the chat facility during the meeting. All microphones will be muted. If you have indicated your intention to speak, you'll be invited to turn your microphone on. If you leave your device for any reason, can you please ensure you are muted and that you turn off your video? We're clear on that? Right, before we go onto the agenda, can I please go around and people to introduce themselves and the reason they're here today? Jane is going to call the names, and if you could introduce yourselves, please.
Okay, thank you, members. I will start. My name's Jane Jones, and I'm a Committee Services Officer for Conway County Borough Council. John Donnelly.
Good afternoon, everybody. John Donnelly. I'm the Principal Trading Standards Licensing Officer for Conway County Borough Council.
Councillor John Roberts.
I'm Councillor John Roberts, and I'm the Chairman today.
Councillor Mary Doyle. You're on mute, Mary.
Sorry, I'm on standby, aren't I?
Yes.
So shall I leave?
You can do, or you're welcome to stay.
Okay, if it can stay, you will. Yeah, I'm Councillor for Reward.
Okay. Elaine Rayner.
Hi, I work at Shoesmith Solicitors, and I submitted the application for McDonald's restaurants on behalf of McDonald's.
And Leo.
Good afternoon, Leo Cherilamidis, the barrister representing the applicant today.
My Roberts.
Hi, Roberts. I'm the licensing officer for Conway Council.
Mark, I think next.
Yeah, Mark Land. I'm the licensing officer for McDonald's.
Janet Hughes.
I'm Janet Hughes. I'm a solicitor with Conway Council.
Councillor Bob Squire.
Hello, yeah, I'm Councillor Bob Squire. I'm Councillor for Arius Ward in Colwyn Bay.
And finally, Councillor Ken Stevens.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Councillor Ken Stevens. I'm a member of this subcommittee deciding this issue today. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everybody.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. And as I said at the beginning, welcome. Right, we'll go on to the agenda. Item 1, apologies. Are we any apologies?
No apologies.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Members are reminded that they must declare the existence and nature of their declared personal interest. Anyone who declares an interest will be asked to wait in the waiting room when the time comes. Have we any? No, we haven't. Okay, thank you. Item 3, urgent matters.
There are no urgent matters, Chair.
I'm not aware of any either. Thank you. Item 4, Licensing Act 2003, a post application for the grant of a premises licence, McDonald's Restaurant, Mostyn Champneys Retail Park, Llandudno. I am now going to hand over to the Head of Regulatory and Housing Services, John Donnelly, Principal Training Standards and Licensing Officer, who will present the report.
Thank you, Chair. The Licensing Authority has received an application to grant a premises licence submitted in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003 in respect of the premises aforementioned. The subcommittee is required to determine the application, taking into account all the relevant facts and evidence. The subcommittee must have regard to the representations made and take such steps as are considered appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The subcommittee can grant the application subject to the relevant mandatory conditions and conditions consistent with the operating schedule, modify the application and or impose any conditions to such an extent the authority deems appropriate to promote the licensing objectives. We reject the application. Excuse me. On the 18th of the 3rd, 2021, an application was received to the licensing authority for the grant of a premises licence known as McDonald's Restaurant, Mostyn Champneys Retail Park, Llandudno. The application and operating schedule in Appendix A for members and the public. The applicant wishes to apply for late night refreshment Sunday to Sunday, 2300 to 0500. Representations that have been deemed to be relevant by the Head of Regulatory Service and Housing have been received in respect of the application within the statutory 28-day period, and these are in Appendix B. There is also a supplement letter, which is, I hope, had been forwarded to everybody. There's no requirement to read that out. The representation is to members to note. The representation is objecting to the application and the premises in the fact that the premises may cause an increase in public nuisance and crime and disorder. The licensing, and I have to say, the licensing authority has no record of any complaints with regard to the operation of the present McDonald's restaurant and Mostyn Champneys Retail Park, and there have been no representations for any responsible authority with regard to the application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. I now ask the applicant or the representative to make their application and call evidence as appropriate. So is that you, Elaine?
No, it'll be me.
It's you, Leo. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So as you've heard, this is an application for late night refreshments daily from 11 until 5 in the Mostyn Champneys Retail Park. You will have noted that this site already has the McDonald's there. It has been there since the 12th of February 1994. It went 24/7 on the in 2007, so for a considerable period of time. It is operated by a franchisee and has been operated by the franchisee since excuse me, 2014. He operates some other 6 sites, including 5 that are licensed throughout the night. What is happening here is that the current store in the retail park is being closed and has been moved to the heart of the retail store, where there is a new premises that has been built to accommodate the McDonald's. Interestingly enough, you'll note that the movement of the store takes it further away from any residential premises, and so that has that particular benefit to it. Given that it's a long-standing McDonald's, the anxieties raised in the letter of representation can be really assessed alongside the fact that you've had a 24/7 McDonald's operating in this area since 2007. So you and your colleagues will know that the case of Thwaites reminds you to very carefully weigh your anxieties versus actual evidence. It's one thing to fear antisocial behaviour or crime and disorder and so on. But there needs to be some evidential basis to suggest that that is likely. In the present circumstances, the evidential basis, of course, is that it is unlikely, given how we have operated and continue to operate. You'll see that we have an operating schedule. In the operating schedule, you'll see everything you'll expect to see in an operating schedule such as this. So crime reduction partnership working, CCTV, monitoring, a staff safe system, which is an audio visual monitoring of the premises, proper security training, conflict training, safe methods, you know, that we have no alcohol containers, litter controls in our area, impacts on noise, and so on. This is very much reflecting of our experience nationally as a recognised responsible operator into the nighttime economy. So you'll also have noticed that not only do your responsible authorities not take any issue with our operating schedule, but indeed the member of the public that has made representations doesn't grapple with our operating schedule. Either he doesn't know how to do so or is entirely satisfied with it. So you'll be familiar with paragraph 9.12 of the section 182 guidance in respect of your responsible authorities, which naturally tells you that the police, for example, are the experts on crime and disorder, environmental health, or on nuisance and so on. And it says to effectively, listen to them, that they are experts. But it also adds this very important caveat. It says that just because you're an expert, it doesn't mean you cannot rely, you don't provide evidence, because your evidence needs to be scrutinized. And so when we observe the letter of representation, we'll notice, for example, that the nightclub nearby has been closed down. The operator has been in administration since last year, so there are no nightclubs in there. It's also curious that the applicant himself isn't aware that there is an existing McDonald's that operates during the night and has done so for a considerable period of time. And the issue such as road accidents, as you're aware, is far removed from the licensing objectives. McDonald's nationally does not engage in any alcohol sales, so there are no alco pops to be even considered. So the picture that emerges is someone that doesn't necessarily know the site, doesn't know the hours, doesn't know our history of operation or the nature of our operation, which makes it a particular concern. I've also then seen in the subsequent note to us that, for example, he says, I live far away and I won't be affected by it anyway. Well, in that sense, one really does have to ask what he is doing here. And his role as some local champion, self-appointed, is also to be of concern. I'm not saying that this applicant is vexatious or frivolous. However, I'm saying that he's certainly knocking at the door of it. When, for example, I read that the concerns about the reputation of your local town, the fact that it might be demoted to the likes of Rill, where apparently the standards are lower, says to me that this is someone who, as I say, is knocking at the door of being vexatious or frivolous. His boasts in respect of appearing on the front newspaper, being a campaigner and so on, may well be legitimate, but I don't think they have a place here in this hearing. He's also unaware of the way in which McDonald's operates. One of the things we know about McDonald's is the fact that it operates late at night means that it provides a safe haven. So, for example, having a well-lit venue is a place where women can go, vulnerable people can go, and often you'll find that having this kind of beacon into the nighttime economy is of benefit. We cooperate very well with our street angels and street pastors around the country. For example, there are many examples. Corby is one that was referred to me in my instructions, where what we do is we make the upstairs available to the street pastors and to the street angels if and when they might need to. So actually, there are very positive contributions to having an operation of this type, quite apart from our reputation of operating in the local area. Sir, I'm not going to go into any further details other than to say that the representation ought to be afforded little weight, if any at all, that the application ought to be granted as requested. It hasn't received any legitimate or serious representations that we can engage in, and what you have is an operator in this area with an absolutely sterling reputation operating here, and indeed a national operator that prides itself on the standards of its national operations. So sir, I would urge you to grant the application as requested. I'm here to answer any questions that you and your colleagues may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leo. At this point of the procedure, I would be asking the objector to ask you questions, but as the objector is not here, we can't do that. But rest assured, we will take note of the objections when we deliberate after. I will ask if any of the members would like to ask you a question. If so, raise your hand. I can see Councillor Ken Stevens. Could you go first, Ken?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for allowing me to speak here. Am I right in thinking this is a non-alcoholic application, and also this is a non-residential area as well? The reason I'm asking that is I would like more information about who they envisage their clientele are going to be at 11 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning. What vision do they have about the people who will be using their facility? Thank you, Chair.
If I may, Chair, just to confirm that it is an application for a non-alcohol. It's late night refreshment only, and the area is not classed as residential or non-residential. It is a shopping park, as the members are aware, and we have had no complaints from environmental health with regards to noise and nuisance, and no complaints with regards to the operation of the business from members of the public.
Thank you, John. Leo, would you like to say anything?
Absolutely, I echo that, and our client base is very mixed and varied, from walk-ins to drive-through to deliveries. We've operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week since 2007 without incident, to a very varied and mixed demographic.
Thank you very much. Did I see Bob Squire's hand? Yes, thank you, Bob.
You did, Chair. Yes, thank you, Leo, for your presentation. And personally, I'm happy to grant the application as requested. I have one particular comment, though, which worries me a little. Nothing to do with the application, but it's on the protection of children from harm. And it's a matter of public record that seagull attacks on people eating outdoors is significant and increasing, especially in seaside towns like Trwyddedu. Children are obviously particularly vulnerable, and it could be a very frightening experience. So I would therefore ask whether it's possible for McDonald's to display notices in the outside eating area advising patrons to be aware of seagulls and not to feed the seagulls, because often that is part of it. What other action McDonald's would want to take to protect children and other customers, obviously, from attack, I don't know. And I don't know whether it can be conditional into the operating schedule, but I would welcome a comment from Leo on that particular matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bob. Back to you, Leo.
So thank you. Yes. So our bins tend to be of the covered variety, so it's very difficult for seagulls to get in. We also have regular litter picks around the site because we want the site kept clean just as much as you do. I have never been asked, and I've been working for McDonald's a long time, to put up notices about seagulls. I don't know whether John has any that the council provide as part of its kind of scheme for the seafront or the local area. If the council provides them, we're more than happy to put up notices. We work with local authorities in order to place notices as and when they needed. If not, I can see Mark is nodding. We're happy to put up notices to warn customers of that, because it's not the kind of thing that we want to see either. So I'm very happy to have a condition that says seagull notices.
Yeah.
Beware of seagulls.
Beware and don't feed them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Leo and Councillor Bob. I will liaise with the company outside of the meeting with regard to the notices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Can't see any hands up. Now, at this particular time, the objectors have been invited again to give evidence, but we've had it in letter, so there's nobody here, so we'll move on. And as chair, I have no questions. I've read the application. It seems very, very thorough, especially on the CCTV bit, which seems to be a template for others. So I thank you for that. So I have nothing else. Is anybody else? John, would you like to come in? Have you any questions?
I've got no comments, Chair, other than I have discussed it with my colleague recently, and unusual circumstances that we're in. The McDonald's has offered great assistance with Moston Champneys in managing patrons and the control of traffic on the holiday on the retail park, which I think should be noted, that they are supporting the community in doing that. As it wouldn't be normally something I'd mention, but as the COVID lead for compliance in Conway, I think it is worth noting that McDonald's and Moston Champneys have made significant strides to control and assist us with traffic. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, John. I'm now going to ask Leo for a closing statement, if you don't mind.
Well, sir, I just commend the application to you. We're a responsible retailer. We work with the community. It's important to us, if you want to look at it just on a cynical basis, to be part of the community, because that's our customers. But actually, on a wider level, we are concerned about our communities that we are positioned with. We don't have any issues. We don't have any challenges in the circumstances of this application. I commend this application to you and ask for it to be granted as requested. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank everybody. We will now retire. So those who are not going to be part of the deliberations, could you please leave? And once again, thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair.